5 Effects of humans on melting glaciers. 1. Climate change. When humans burn fossil energies similar as coal, oil, painting, and natural gas to produce energy for transportation, electricity, and other purposes, they release large quantities of carbon dioxide and other hothouse feasts into the atmosphere. These feasts trap heat from the sun that would else be radiated back into space, creating a hothouse effect that warms the Earth's face and atmosphere. As the attention of hothouse feasts in the atmosphere increases, so does the quantum of heat that's trapped. This causes the Earth's temperature to rise, which in turn can lead to the melting of glaciers and ice waste. Glaciers are particularly vulnerable to this warming because they are formerly located in cold regions, where small changes in temperature can have a big impact on the quantum of ice and snow that accumulates. As the temperature rises, glaciers can start to melt more snappily than they can replenish themselves, leading to a net loss of ice and contributing to ocean position rise. Deforestation and other land use changes can also contribute to the warming of the Earth's atmosphere by reducing the quantum of carbon that's absorbed by trees and other foliage. When trees are cut down, they release carbon stored in their biomass into the atmosphere, which can contribute to the hothouse effect. Overall, the combination of mortal conditioning that release hothouse feasts into the atmosphere and those that reduce the Earth's capability to absorb carbon similar as deforestation can have a significant impact on the melting of glaciers and the Earth's climate more astronomically. 2. Reduced snowfall. Land use changes and urbanization can affect snowfall in several ways, which in turn can impact the quantum of snow and ice that accumulates on glaciers. One way that land use changes can reduce snowfall is by altering the face parcels of the land. For illustration, when timbers are cleared for husbandry or other purposes, the dark soil that's exposed absorbs further sun than the former foliage cover. This causes the face to warm up more snappily, leading to increased evaporation and a reduction in the quantum of humidity that's available to form snow. Also, urbanization can also reduce snowfall by altering the face parcels of the land. For illustration, when metropolises are erected, they frequently replace natural foliage and open spaces with structures, roads, and other impervious shells. These shells absorb further heat than natural foliage, causing the original temperature to rise and reducing the quantum of snowfall that occurs. Another way that land use changes can affect snowfall is by altering the original atmospheric rotation patterns. For illustration, when timbers are cleared, the face roughness is reduced, which can beget the original wind patterns to change. This, in turn, can alter the distribution of humidity in the atmosphere and reduce the quantum of snowfall that occurs in a particular region. Overall, the combination of land use changes and urbanization can have a significant impact on the quantum of snowfall that occurs in a particular region. This, in turn, can affect the quantum of snow and ice that accumulates on glaciers, contributing to their reduction over time. 3. Glacier retreat. Glaciers are massive, slow-moving bodies of ice that can stretch for long hauls across the geography. They play a pivotal part in regulating the Earth's climate by reflecting sun back into space and helping to maintain stable ocean situations. Still, mortal conditioning similar as tourism, mining, and construction can have negative impacts on these important natural coffers. Tourism is one of the main contributors to the physical damage caused to glaciers. Large figures of colors to popular glacier spots can champ on fragile foliage, disturb wildlife, and contribute to soil corrosion, which can weaken the glacier's stability. Also, excursionists may inadvertently waste or leave behind waste, which can accumulate on the glacier's face and accelerate melting. Eventually, aircraft and other vehicles used to transport excursionists to remote glacier areas can release dangerous hothouse feasts, contributing to global warming and the melting of glaciers. Mining and construction conditioning can also have negative impacts on glaciers. Mining involves drilling, firing, and excavation, which can release large quantities of dust and other adulterants into the air. This can settle on near glaciers, causing them to absorb further sun and melt at a faster rate. Construction conditioning, similar as erecting roads or structures, can also alter the natural drainage patterns of the geography, causing water to flow into new areas and aggravating the melting of glaciers. The retreat of glaciers can also lead to the conformation of new lakes. As glaciers melt, they can produce depressions in the geography that fill with water. These new lakes can further contribute to melting by absorbing further sun and warming the girding area. The water from these lakes can also transute into the glacier, weakening it and causing it to retreat indeed further. Overall, mortal conditioning similar as tourism, mining, and construction can have significant negative impacts on glaciers. It's essential that we take way to reduce our impact on these fragile natural coffers in order to alleviate the goods of climate change and cover the Earth's ecosystems for unborn generations. 4. Rising sea level. Melting glaciers, particularly those in Greenland and Antarctica, are one of the primary motorists of global ocean position rise. As glaciers melt, they add water to the world's abysses, leading to an increase in ocean position. This increase is particularly problematic for littoral communities and ecosystems, as it can have a range of impacts. One of the most significant impacts of ocean position rise is increased littoral flooding. As ocean situations rise, storm surges and high runs can drown littoral areas more constantly and with lesser intensity. This can lead to damage to structure, homes, and businesses, as well as relegation of people living in these areas. Also, littoral corrosion can be aggravated by rising ocean situations, leading to loss of strands and other natural territories. The impacts of ocean position rise can be particularly devastating for low-lying littoral communities and small islet nations. These areas are frequently formerly vulnerable to natural disasters and climate change impacts, and ocean position rise can compound these issues. For illustration, in the Pacific islet nation of Tuvalu, ocean position rise has formerly led to littoral flooding, corrosion, and saltwater intrusion into brackish sources, hanging the livelihoods and safety of its occupants. Sea position rise can also have significant impacts on littoral ecosystems. For illustration, saltwater intrusion can damage washes and other littoral territories, leading to loss of biodiversity and ecosystem services. Also, coral reefs, which give important niche for marine life and cover littoral communities from storms and corrosion, are hovered by rising ocean situations and ocean acidification. Overall, the impacts of melting glaciers and performing ocean position rise are far-reaching and have significant counter-accusations for both mortal communities and the natural world. Addressing these impacts will bear combined global action to reduce hothouse gas emigrations and alleviate the goods of climate change. In conclusion, there are a lot of effects that melting the glaciers, and I'll want to explain that I am not apprehensive of any nuclear trial that directly caused the melting of glaciers. Still, the release of hothouse feast from mortal conditioning similar as burning fossil energies and deforestation have been the primary cause of global warming, which is one of the main motorists of glacier melting. It's also worth noting that nuclear munitions testing during the mid-20th century caused a significant increase in the quantum of radioactive material in the atmosphere, which in turn led to an increase in global temperatures. Still, the effect of nuclear munitions testing on glacier melting is likely to be small compared to the impact of hothouse gas emigrations.